Hello, this is DM Grisix. Welcome to this first video about the use of the DM 2024 Avrae Dungeon Masters tools. This is a suite of tools for Dungeon Masters to help them keep track of a bunch of stuff in Discord and use Discord as a way to keep track of times, travels, climate, and weather change based on the latest 2024 rules. So we're going to get going here. So the first thing you need to do when you are using Avrae is create your own DM character, which I have created here, DM Grisix, because all the recording of the variables are going to be done under that character. So you need to make sure you always have the right character selected. If you have multiple characters because you play in different campaigns or you run different campaigns, make sure you have one character per DM per campaign, and make sure you switch to your DM character when you're running these commands. So we've done. I'm going to start with a fresh account where I deleted all the variables here, and we're going to start with the first command, which is the world command. So the world command is kind of setting up the base variable for the world. So I'm going to use a world that has the core Earth or Earth kind of information. So it works with global variable. The global variable in Avrae are available through, so even if it's one global variable that I created myself, you guys should be able to use that one. And then you can use gvar copy through the Avrae Discord, I believe, to create your own gvars, which will have a kind of a global UID over there, like this one. So I'm going to use this one here, and we're going to set the start on the first day, let's say 1st of January. Let's assume we're going to play in the 1600s. Let's call it BC. So I want to start at 7 in the morning, so I'm entering, this is what I'm entering next. The days in this world have 24 hours, so I'm going to use that, and let's start with a new moon here, so 0. I'll get over the variable a little bit later. Right now I'm just going to get started here, and it's creating your new world here with a bunch of information that are being recorded. And that is one of the very important things that Discord is bringing to my games at the very least, and why I love using Avrae is because it's tracking everything on the go, on the fly. You don't need to be connected to a game table online. You can run that on your computer, either you're on a table or you're with your friends, or you're online and you have a game table. You don't have to be connected to it. And another advantage of Avrae, as we're going to see it across all these videos that I'm going to do, is that you can use those during weeks between sessions to advance or do some kind of exchange. Not really a play-by-post, but it is certainly a bit similar, but these tools are meant to be used in online game session, regular game session, not just play by post, obviously. But we're going to delve into that pretty deep. For that first session, what I'm going to cover is the base commands for these command that I put up there on the top left of the screen. So world, which is setting up our world here, and then TM or time, which is going to give us a notion of what time it is in our new world. So let's go with that command right away. So we see that it is morning, 7 in the morning, first day of January 1600 BC. It is indeed a new moon. It is winter. All these parameters are actually defined in our global variable here, that is defined as a calendar format, which have a bunch of information like the moon cycles, the name of the seasons, and the months, the name of the months, possibly some holidays, names. It's kind of a fairly standard calendar data set, and you can easily kind of set up your own calendar. So we'll go back a little bit later into a changing world and seeing how that works. But the Avrae access to the global variable, your global variables, will allow you to kind of update your own global variables. Even if you can read the one from other people, you won't be able to update this one, for example. So I'm going to kind of start moving the time forward a bit. So it is a very kind of short command because, again, I try to make it as practical to the DM as possible, because they have to do a lot of stuff at the same time. I've been using these commands for 3 years in my games now, and those are kind of practice and have been reduced to the minimum with the time. So I'm going to move, like, for example, the time for 1 hour. You'll see that automatically the time moves to 8 hours. You can change by minutes. So let's move 34 minutes here. You can advance by 13 hours, for example. And as you can see, the system is starting to track something that I haven't pointed out yet. But if you look here, it says at 8 hours and 34 minutes, next long rest will start in 8 hours. Well, now it's been more than 8 hours, because we passed 13 hours and we need to push through 5 hours of forced march. So it is going to tell the DM this kind of information, saying, okay, well, the group has to go through forced march. The DM can make constitution save or not. There are some rules on the DMG to that end. But let's say the group doesn't really do anything which takes time. So we're going to go to the next day, and we're going to call for a long rest. So I'm going to call both the next day and the long rest at the same time. What it's going to do is move us to the second day of January. In the morning, long rest is done. Again, the advantage of this message is that it's very easy to do a search for the message that already passed, kind of track what happened, what was the last time we were logged in, what time was it. All that information is kept for you in the Discord channel, and really, really useful. And on top of that, if you're like me, take notes as a DM, you can say notes here that helps you kind of remember where the group is. For example, sleeping in the king's castle here, as they are invited for ceremony the next day or something like that. So the tracking of time is kind of done through these very simple commands. You can actually pass multiple days at a time. So I'm going to say, for example, I want 3 days, and then the system will automatically kind of change the date, obviously, start showing you the differences, the moon cycles. I want to point out there's a footer here that is useful for the DM, because if you don't remember what is the last command that you ran, you can always check that command over there. So it's kind of easy, especially from 1 week to the next, to forget what was the last command run. So this is a good way to check that. So let's say our ceremony has passed, our characters are ready to go, they have a mission, and they have to travel. So the next thing, as we're covering kind of the basic geographic features with these base commands is setting up the trend. So they are going to, let's say, go through a forest, and that forest is not very dense, so I'm going to give it a difficulty factor of 1 here. It's not necessarily useful, but as soon as I'm calling the forest, and we were in the plain, the castle was probably somewhere in the plain near the forest, you immediately see the information from the Dungeon Master Guide 2024. You get the foraging, navigation, search DC, the regular pace that the characters can use, and that is kind of a first step to describe what's going to what the characters are going to travel through. Then the second step, which is important, the climate. Okay, what is the climate today? So we are in a forest. We are in winter. So I'm going to randomize the climate random here. And when I'm doing that, and usually I do that once per day, it's going to roll the 3 d20s again from the DMG and give us a quick readout of the current situation. So light cover, it's pretty cold, not surprising, it is winter. Light winds, clear skies, sub-freezing, hope the characters have equipped properly for the trip. And at that point, we are going to start doing the travel command. And this is one of the key command for this passage of time, because it's a command that's actually keep track of the distance they parkour and the travel, sorry, and the time it takes to get there. So let's say they are going to travel for 8 hours. The slowest is probably traveling at 20, because there may be a character that is a bit encumbered, so they don't go at a regular speed of 30. But they decide to go at a slow pace because they want to kind of travel slowly through the forest. They're not sure what's going on there. So we're going to give it a go with these commands. So the first number is the number of hours that we want. The second number is the number of the speed of the party, the slowest speed of the party member. And after that we can give parameters for like a pace. So we're going to do that. So in 8 hours in a forest, they are going to be able to travel for 10 miles. The command kind of give us a reminder about the benefit of the slow pace. Even if the speed is decreased, we kind of get advantage to wisdom check, so survival or perception check. And another thing that the system is doing is keeping track actually of the distance traveled between so far. So today 10 miles, total so far 10 miles we left recently. So the group, as usual, we travel for around 8 hours per day. Let's say they don't do any kind of forced march. This is a regular day, so they're going to kind of set up camp for the rest of the day. Let's say they do some kind of camp, and the DM may want to do a random encounter to see if there is a random encounter. So we're going to spend 8 days over there. 0 because they are not moving, so they are camping. And at that point, as a random encounter is happening or may be happening, I'm going to roll a d20 to determine if there is any random encounter here. So let's assume if they roll 17 or more, there will be a random encounter. So this is still a travel command. We are not moving the time forward when we are doing random encounters. And I'm going to see that the group has actually stayed put here and rolled 18. So 18 would be a random encounter. So as a DM, I can do. There will be a bunch of stuff that we're going to look into to help with those in the next videos. But for now, we'll assume that the DM is running that encounter. So that's it. After that, we are getting at that point. What time is it? It should be close to the night. It is nighttime. It is 11 p.m. at that point. Like the system says, the next long rest can start anytime now. They have traveled 8 hours. They kind of hang out for another 8 hours, kind of setting up a camp and stuff like that. And we are going to do another random encounter during the night. Let's see, for example, if they do 80 or another d20. Let's see if they would have another encounter here. Nope, they're staying put. Somebody is probably keeping watch. Well, actually, a 20, they have some pretty good rolls, so would be probably some encounter during the night. So all that is kind of driven by the DM. You don't have to roll the d20, but the information is there available if you need it. And we are going to go with the next day at the end of the night after the encounter is run and everything is set up. Then we can do the long rest. It is 7 in the morning again after 8 hours. They are getting ready for their second day of travel, but they travel for 10 miles and wherever they're going is only like 5 miles away. So we have a way with the travel command to run only for 5 hours. So they still go at 20 feet speed, but we are going to use 20 miles to indicate that we just want to travel for 5 miles, and then we are going to indicate a slow pace because they're still cautious. I mean, they have had 2 encounters so far, so they probably want to kind of make sure that they are as stealthy as possible. So let's do that. Obviously, in that situation, I did not roll a random encounter. So as usual with Avrae, you can roll a d20 by yourself. Again, 19. Wow, that's a lot of high rolls here for the DM. Good thing there were not attack rolls. So anyway, the DM can do what they want with Avrae, and again, notice here, so arrival by the cave and starting the adventure. So I'm just going to keep track of things that way. So this is kind of a very quick overview of the functionalities of these 4 commands. I'm going to go a little bit more detail into the detail of this command. So you can do alias for travel, and the alias will kind of bring up the command. So you can do alias for time and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of things and information. Again, these commands have been coded for three years now. I've been using extensively in all my games. So there's a bunch of more advanced features that I'm going to go over. But this is kind of the first base. So stay tuned for the next part of that first session, where we are going to get into more details about these tools in a moment.